Thanks for staying with us. So we have with us the president of the National Association of Proprietors of Private Schools, Yomi Otubela. Good morning, sir. Are you there?
Very good morning. Good. How are you there?
Very good, morning, very good. Sir. Now, there are quite a number of things we want to talk to you about, but let's start with this issue of WAEC. You are the president of the National Association of Proprietors of Private Schools. What are your thoughts on this suspension of the WAEC examinations?
Yes, from National Associations of Proprietors of Private Schools, I want to say here that it was a shock news for us when we got the information that the Minister of Education has suspended the proposed examination that are to be conducted by West African Examination Council, and that it's starting in August 4th through September. Prior to the announcement on Wednesday, Tuesday, precisely on the 7th of this month, that was last week Tuesday, there was a meeting of stakeholders that was called by the Minister of State for Education, where our association, National Association of Proprietors of Private Schools, was present, NUT present, NCDC present, representatives from WAEC, NECO, NAPPS were present, all commissioners for education in the country were present or represented by by the PS or any other senior from all the states of the Federation to reopen. As a matter of fact, there were suggestions that reopening and returning back to school should come much earlier to allow children to revise enough for the examination. We ended that meeting with information that the federal ministry will need about 40 billion naira to put safety measures in place among federal government controlled schools, among unitary schools. And we left that meeting that's Tuesday. On Wednesday was when the announcement of suspension came. So it became a shock. And since that Wednesday, we had tried to reach out to federal ministry. Majority of the officials there are not ready to speak on the matter, as they were not authorized to speak. We had also made attempts to have meeting with the Minister of Education. We hope that will materialize soon. We had also called the head of WAEC to also share his opinion.
We're having trouble hearing you, sir. I think I would ask the producers to disconnect it and call you back audio so we can hear you. We don't want to miss any information. It's important we hear you clearly. We're going to break and we'll come back after this. Thanks for staying with us. So we tried to reconnect with Mr. Otubela, but we're having trouble reconnecting with him. But we'll still bring him back. But in the meantime, we have joining us now Professor Julius Ihonvere, the Chairman House Committee, Office Representative Committee on Basic Education and Services. Thanks for joining us, sir. Good morning, sir. Are you there?
Thank you very much.
Right. So have you been listening to the show? Because we had with us the chairman of National Proprietors of Private Schools, and he was telling us earlier that there was a proper meeting last week held with the Minister of State, with all the various stakeholders present, where it was agreed that the WAEC can go ahead. However, the minister then comes and makes a U-turn. In your view, do you think it was a good decision for us to stop and suspend WAEC?
Thank you very much. It is a very unfortunate decision. It's certainly not a good one. COVID-19 is everywhere. We cannot be pretending as if we want to adopt a back approach instead of responding and adjusting to the new normal that we are confront. First, the House Committee had written a letter to the ministry that if you want to reopen schools, these are certain protocols you must comply with. And then we invited the minister to come appear before us and explain to us what is on ground, what is not. The Minister of State came to represent the ministry, and he assured us everything was in place but they were not opening schools, just those in exit classes to come write the exam. He also gave this information at the regular presidential task force briefing. So we were all shocked to hear the Minister of Education, say that WAEC would not take place, they would not write the exams. I think it is not a very just decision. Exams can take place, the protocols can be handled, and we have made these suggestions in our own statement to government.
Yes, sir. So the WAEC came out last week to say that they were getting ready for the examinations, and they talked about that the fact that they needed 50 million to be able to provide PPEs for the invigilators for the examinations. What sort of plan did you expect the Ministry of Education to be doing in terms of the schools that are being slated for the examinations to take place and their teachers that will also support WAEC in invigilating?
Well, the Federal Ministry of Education is responsible for the 104 unity schools only. Your education is on the current list. And so they're not responsible for the situation in the various states. But what I expect the ministry to do is, as usual, provide policy, provide leadership, and a sense of direction to the states to say, this exam is coming. These are certain things you need to do. We're sending out inspectors and get the president involved to talk to the vice president, to speak to the governors, both at the Council of States meeting and through the ministers. And no proactive action is being taken. This is the problem in the country, where some states are saying we are not ready. But meanwhile, nobody is checking. Have the schools been fumigated? Have they cleaned out the classrooms? Are the invigilators ready? WAEC is ready. WAEC has distributed the materials to all the exam centers already.
They said so.
And they are prepared.
Right.
It is the minister who is not prepared. The Minister of State appears to be prepared. He understands the issues. So I think this is something that calls for a serious rethink in the interest of Nigeria and Nigerians.
Let me put you on hold for a quick second. I have Mr. Otubella back. Are you there, sir?
Yes, I'm here.
So before we got disconnected, you were telling us about the meeting you had with the Minister of State and the fact that the Honorable Minister of Education, then Adamu Adamu, did a U-turn on the decision. In your view, as the president of the National Association of Proprietors of Private Schools, do you feel prepared in your own circle for WAEC? Are you ready as a school, as a body, to go ahead with WAEC?
You will recall that the school, just like all other sectors, were shut down sometimes in March. And we started learning to understand the novel virus and what can be done to curtail it. National Association of Operators of Private Schools wrote a proposal suggesting to federal government on what measures we should put in place, having listened to WHO advice, having studied the NCDC advice on prevention. So we wrote and we suggested the following, that there will be wash hand basin with running water and soap at the entrance of all schools. We wrote that the entrance to school should not be limited to one. There should be a minimum of 2 or 3 entrances, depending on the population in different schools. Where there has been only one entrance, the school will need to go ahead and open up their fence to create further entrances. This is to ensure that we reduce the crowd that will come into the school from an entrance. Aside that, we have suggested that there will be a need to observe the 2-meter distancing in all classrooms, with a maximum of about 20 children in a class that can take that space. We also suggested to them that there should be a billboard, posters in conspicuous places within the school environment where visitors, parents, children can read from time to time or be reminded from time to time of their responsibility to ensure that we will curb the spread of this COVID-19. Aside this, we canvass for the use of nose mask, We spoke about the sick bay that we call recovery room, that it should be well equipped with a trained nurse, and such nurse should also be trained, as well as teaching and non-teaching staff in the school to be enlightened on what to do in case of eventuality or suspicious cases.
Right.
We also suggested that we should register with a non-hospital in every street where schools operate, either public or private, among other suggestions we made to government. And we thank God that this was listened to, and we are part of some of the committee at the federal level. NAPPS, we came up with government in some of these safety measures. These started from sometimes April and May. So when the Presidential Task Force Committee came up that school can begin to reopen during the second ease of lockdown, we had informed all our members and had them to put all these safety measures in place.
Right.
I speak with you that all schools under National Association of Operators of Private Schools Nigeria had already put all these provisions in school. Don't forget, we are coming with an experience of Ebola virus.
Right.
And some of the gadgets we had in school then are still in place. All we need is to just upgrade them to meet this current standard.
All right. Go ahead. Okay.
Thank you, sir. I'm going to take the question to Honorable Yvonne.
Julius.
Honorable Julius, please. I wanted to ask you that obviously there seemed to be a communication gap between the Minister for State and the substantive Minister for Education. Both are expected to work together. What would be your move as the House of Representatives to deal with this gap and its effect on us as a nation and its effect on the educational sector? Because obviously you've said that there's issues. What would you do? What would your team do? What can be used to caution this kind of things from not happening again? And who can hold these two people accountable for not communicating with one another?
Yeah, we'll be communicating with the ministry today, explaining our position. We already did that over the weekend, and not formally to the ministry. Second, we will be summoning the minister to come and reason with us and dialogue with us on how we can resolve the current situation. The parents are ready, the students are ready, schools are ready, WASSCE is ready, the Minister of State is ready. I believe the ministry itself is ready, just the minister. So we can reach some common ground so that we do not destroy the future of our children with just a simple thing. We've told them, first, cancel the whole issue of revision, so they don't have to come and stay in body. So nobody, no revision. Let WASSCE set the exam on the syllabus, on part of the syllabus is covered already. Use all the classrooms in the school, not just school hall. That way you can spread the students out and there will be enough room if once they are fumigated. Provide face masks. How much does it cost? For God's sake, sanitize before they enter, even when they're writing exam if you want. Ensure there's ventilation. And once the exam is over, ensure they disperse and go. To me, this doesn't look like rocket science. It just means that we're adjusting to the...
Let me just add something.
Professor
Let me
Julius.
just add something. The 19 commissioners of education have said that they support the northern 19 commissioners of education, say they support the minister who stopped WASSCE. So is it possible that they were not carried along, or what would you do? What would your committee do to correct this information from them saying that they are not ready?
We will try to reach the governors forum and communicate with the governors to talk to their states and their responsibility. We don't have direct communication with the commissioners, but such statements hardly help states in terms of responding to COVID. It just shows that, like somebody said on the program earlier on, nothing has been put in place. What we're describing, what we're requiring is so simple and so easy and cost-effective if taken. So those 19 commissioners come from a part of the country. The others are saying, they're not saying they're not ready. In fact, some state governors have said they're going to go ahead with it. The private schools, I believe, are ready. So we would use all the avenues necessary. If necessary, we would involve the Speaker and the Senate President to also reach out to President Muhammadu Buhari to say, this is such a strategic exam, not only Nigeria, all the other English-speaking countries in West Africa said ready to write the exam.
Right.
COVID-19 is not in Nigeria alone.
Yes, sir. So how hopeful are you that this meeting with the minister will be positive? And if it's not, what are some of the next steps that you are looking to take?
I believe the meeting will be positive. I think he's been busy with several assignments that is following the trend of debate, I believe. But I think when we meet with him and explain our own protocols to him, then sit with the Minister of State as well as the Director of Schools. I believe WAEC is meeting with him today also to explain their own position and preparedness, that we will have a solution to the problem. It's not an insoluble problem.
All right, let me move to Mr. Otubela for a second. So the meeting that's going to be held, have you been invited, Mr. Otubela?
Hello?
The meeting that is about to be held with the Minister of Education, that will be holding, I think, today.
Today, yes.
Have you been invited? Were you invited?
We have not received any invite. Except
So you've not been called into that meeting? Okay. So, well, we'll see who and who will be attending that meeting, and we'll get but in your view, you will like them to allow us to go ahead with the WAEC, correct? Based on what you've said so far.
Are you talking to me?
I said, based on what you've said so far, you will like the government to go ahead, allowing the students to write WAEC.
Not only to go ahead with the WAEC, but to send psychologists to various schools all over the country, both public and private, to talk and work on the children's side because they have been demoralized. Mm-hmm. And I have to say that if something quickly is not done, there is also already massive movement of Nigerian parents and children to neighboring countries to seek for writing their exams in those countries that are ready to go with WAEC.
Talking about demoralizing, what's your association doing for teachers within the lower income private schools? A lot of them have been crying, saying they need help. At least the state government schools are still paying their teachers. Mm-hmm. But the private sector, the lower income ones are suffering. Many of them are worried that they've not been paid salary for months. So is your association working on that? What are you doing?
Yes, we had written to federal government to understand that the children are teaching Nigerian children, and the fact that we need to keep them and their family together during the lockdown. So federal government had listened to our request. We requested that the teacher's salary in private schools should be taken over by government during the month of lockdown. Okay. We requested that there should be a single-digit loan for private schools to cushion the effect of the COVID-19. Okay. We requested for the support that those schools who have existing loan, they should liaise on our behalf with CBN and CBN with all those commercial banks and other financial institutions to ensure that they give them soft landing in times of moratorium to repay and reduction in the interest loan. So federal government has approved that they will take over the payment of teachers' salary from...
For real?
I have this information. If there are other times you will invite me and I will tell you the detail of...
Okay, so the approval, did it come from the Minister of State or did it come from the substantive minister?
The approval comes... The proposal was sent to the Economic Sustainability Committee.
That's Vice President.
Professor Shibajo, the Vice President, and it was approved by Federal Executive Council, and it was announced by the senior media to the presidency. And we have all these documents, and we are already talking to them to begin to know the modality for disbursement during
That's great news. That's great news. Now, there probably are some private schools that are not part of your association. How would you be able to capture them, or what must they do to be part of that association within the next few weeks, at least to have access to what the federal government is disbursing?
Federal government cannot interface with individual schools. As you know, that would be so difficult. And there is freedom of associations. For those who have reason to join the association and share experience, exchange ideas, and see that we work together to raise standard of education in the country, of course, we benefit from it. But I won't be able to speak for those who feel they can be on their own.
Okay, only members of the association.
Okay, we're back with Professor Julius. Are you still there, sir? Professor Julius, now, do you feel that there is some kind of data that the Honorable Minister of Education have that we don't have access to, that may suggest the need to actually postpone the examinations? Could there be any possible data that he has that we don't have?
I am not certain he has some data we don't know. If he has data, he has a responsibility to make such data public. That's why the House Committee will be calling on him to come have a dialogue with us today. We know that prior to this time, this announcement, it was the Minister of State that was going around attending the COVID briefings, met with us in the House, and gave press statements, and met with various agencies, including WAEC, before he reached the conclusion that, yes, we need to do WAEC exam. We are willing to receive information, and if the information is overwhelming, we will make it available to Nigerians and then support the position. But as of today, we do not have any information that will warrant a cancellation of that.
Well, I think we would like to wrap it up there. We'll definitely look forward to that briefing, and we'll get feedback from you how it went, hopefully in the papers in the morning. But thank you so much for joining us. We've been speaking with the Chairman, House Committee on Education, and also we have Mr. Otubela, who is the President of the National Association of Proprietors of Private Schools. We're going to break. We'll open our phone lines to Nigerians. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
You can watch Your View on TVC every Monday to Friday, 9 a.m. to 10:30 a.m. Nigerian time on DSTV channel 418, GOTV channel 27 and channel 47, StarTimes channel 121 and channel 307, Play TV channel 801 and channel 190, UHF 49, Sky channel 515 for UK viewers. Watch live on Facebook at TVC Connect and on our website tvcentertainment.tv/livestream.